Okay, hello everybody. Happy Tuesday. Thanks so much for joining us back on The Boost. Great to see you again. Speaking about spirituality with regards to emotionality. We're getting deeper here. We're circling back, but we're getting deeper. I don't want you to think for 1 second that when you're sitting in your house and you're trying to understand your spouse or your children or your friends and you reduce what you need and how you speak for somebody else. That's not a spiritual act. I was talking to a marriage therapist the other day, and he was explaining to me a situation he was dealing with of where a couple was at the brinks of despair because the way they related from an intimacy perspective was so different. Until he explained that they relate very differently in their needs. One needs more emotionality and speaking, one needs more physical and touch. It doesn't mean that if there's less speaking or less touch that they're not in love with each other. Just the language, the way that they connect is different. And he's trying to impress upon me how prevalent this is in his practice, and if there's something we can do to get. I don't know. But it was so powerful to hear the way he said it, although we know it. But the way at least he said it was a powerful concept. And when she said that so many couples that he deals with is really just breaks down to this. The willingness to be able to speak someone else's language. But what I don't want us to think is that that's like a nice thing. It's a spiritual thing. You see, when you are willing to, in Hebrew the word is machnia. I don't know if there's an English version of that. It's probably to humble. When you're willing to humble your needs in order to better understand someone else or in order to give to somebody else, what you're doing is you are removing the physicalness around the spirituality that you have, and you are attaching yourself to the spirituality of somebody else. And you feel it. Try this. Let's take this down to the lowest level. I wrote this in the book, by the way. The lowest level of this is, here, try this out. Try this at home. When you walk around public 1 or 2 days, try to hold the door open everywhere you go. Just go into a building and hold the door. For the person behind you, you are giving up your physicalness. That's your time. Somebody else is benefiting from it. When they walk through the door, see how you feel. You will feel something that is inarticulate, intangible, but feels amazing. Why? You lost physical. Because picture as if you have a plug, an outlet. Picture you have a plug, and around the plug is a case. That case is your physicality. That case is your me. That case is my needs, my way, my language, my. As soon as you pull the case off, you have an exposed plug. It can now plug into somebody else. And that feeling is electric. You don't lose when you give yourself to somebody else. You lose physically, but you gain spiritually. It's a spiritual act. Relationships is spirituality. That's what it is. Marriage, friendships, parenting, teachers and students. It's spirituality, man. In fact, the whole idea of a religion really is a relationship with God. And all that you're doing is limiting some of your physical needs and trying to connect with the divine source. And it is because it doesn't necessarily align with your physical needs that makes it powerful. It's because you wouldn't have otherwise prayed this long or done this thing or celebrated this way. That's it. We run away from that. It's the opposite. We should be running towards it. It is the discomfort that we feel physically to a proper normal consent level. I mean, but like the discomfort in growth with regard to spirituality is what makes it valuable. That's what it is. That's what a relationship is. When a guy marries a girl, especially if he marries her young and he's young, like he's not even developed yet. Like most men aren't even developed when they get married. Like they're a work in progress. They got to be like the wife is like still molding them, which could go on for decades. By the way, he has no idea how to deal with a woman, really, and there's no prep for it. I had no clue. I hope I have a better clue now. No clue whatsoever. It's a different species in my house. It's a totally different species. The only thing that I was taught is just because you want it doesn't mean you got to do it. Listen, give. And again, I'm not saying I'm an expert in any which way. I'm not saying that I've succeeded in any which way. Gotta ask my wife. I hope, but I don't know. I don't think I've reached where I can go. But the idea that in order for me to connect to somebody else that's not like me, I have to somehow limit the things that I want is part and parcel of the basics of every single relationship. That's the basics of our relationship with the divine. That's spirituality. It's what it is. You are removing the cover of the physical, and you are exposing the spiritual. And if the other person does that as well, forget it. It's game over. It's completely and totally game over. Now you've got two people removing the covers and being able to connect, removing that cap on the outlets and the plugs, and being able to actually create electricity. And you feel it. It doesn't have to be with your spouse. It could be with anybody. You feel it with friends, partners. You feel it sometimes in a classroom. The teacher is teaching. The student is getting it, and there's a give and take. You feel it a lot. You feel it, by the way, there's a low level of this even in games. You go to a game and everybody's cheering for the same thing. It's low level spirituality. The game itself, as much as I love games, the game itself isn't filled with any meaning and purpose, so it has a limited value, but still. The reason why people will spend all this money and travel all this distance and sit in all this traffic and brave any amount of weather to go to see their favorite team live when they can sit home and save the money and save the traffic and save the weather issues and save the expensive food and watch the game on their television set is because they want to feel what it feels like to be with other. It's a spiritual experience. Again, it's not a high spiritual experience. But me and you, if we're just framed this way, could actually walk around and have incredible spiritual experiences all the time. If our frame is in what I could be giving and not what I could be getting. Now you got to do it with common sense. And the person has to be worthy of it. But that's the equation. That's the calculation. When I'm willing to forego what I want for you, I have now removed a piece of the physicalness that has blocked me from you because I'm a body and you're a body, or a mind and I'm a mind. And as I pull away at what I want, I pull away at the thing that controls me for you. And you do the same for me. Even if you don't, but especially if you do. And now we are connecting at a deeper level. And it feels that way. And you're now living a much deeper life without having to go to some mountaintop somewhere. Just by living your life in a way that's more focused on the spiritual and the physical in every single interaction. And this doesn't have to, it could be by smiling at somebody, really. It's the intention of, I don't want to smile now, I'm tired. And you're the train conductor. You're just clipping my ticket on the train. I don't even know you, but I am going to say a couple of words to make you feel good, just so that you feel good. It's not the highest level, but it's spiritual. It's spiritual stuff, man. This is what spirituality is. It is the science of the soul. It is the world of the non-physical. You can live this way all the time. Big moments and small moments. But always be in this game of seeing the world from your perspective, and then allowing my soul to drive, not my brain, not my mind, not my body. You live a very different life. You may not get as much stuff, by the way, just letting you know. But you end up getting plenty, but you may not get as much. Well, let's say it this way: you usually end up getting more, but not at the timeline that you're used to. But if you're willing to let God run the time, you just get to enjoy the game. Different way. Remember, the players don't run the clock because they're too busy playing the game. All right, guys and ladies. Hope to see you again tomorrow. Have a great day. With God's help. Have a great day.
Living on a lifeline. The world doesn't ever seem to change. Looking for the sunshine, but you're caught up in the rain. It's like your eyes are wide open, but you cannot see. You're watching life pass you by like 1, 2, 3. Walking in destruction. The winds of life blur your vision. All the devastation. Forever feels like you're on the run. It's time. No one else can set you free. You're locked inside, and only you have got the key.